There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko Table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonko Table. That is the voice of Grandmaster Hoop coming at you from the stop motion play field of the great minds of Henry Selick and a bunch of other stop motion animators, because we're here to talk about the latest and the greatest from Netflix. It is Wendell and Wild. Yes, folks, we're here to talk about the latest from Henry Selick and Jordan Peele. Wendell and Wild, new film that just dropped on Netflix, and it definitely is trying to evoke the vibes of great stop motion animation of the past, including that of Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, etc., etc. And we're here to talk about it. With me, as always, is DrJaceAttorney. DrJaceAttorney, are you excited to talk about Wendell and Wild?
Yeah, I would say I am pretty excited to talk about this movie. I think it has its fair share of problems, which we'll get into. And maybe there are problems that only I had with it. Maybe talking it out, maybe I can get an explanation on why certain things were done the way that they were. But I think overall, I'm excited to talk about this movie. I love the medium that this film comes from. I love stop motion films because I feel like you have to have a passion to really do a film in this style, because it can't be half-hearted. It can't be a cash grab. It can't be half-hearted. You have to have a vision and a dream to like make whatever you want to become reality for a type of film like this. A good example that I always like to think of is Kubo and the Two Strings.
Sure, Kubo.
Did you see Kubo before?
I never seen it all the way through, but I've heard great things and I've read up on it. Yes. I'm aware of Kubo. Yes.
I love Kubo. Again, another film in that genre, in the stop motion genre. And I'm sure we'll touch on some of the past works of this director, because like you said, he did come from A Nightmare Before Christmas fame, James and the Giant Peach,
yes,
Coraline. I like the Nightmare one, the Fiasco, a lot more because, you know, everyone is like, that's Tim Burton, right? Tim Burton, which it is such a shame because this man directed that movie, but his name is hardly ever attached to it. But now when you see a movie that mimics the Nightmare Before Christmas, I guess theming, your mind automatically goes to, oh yeah, Tim Burton, right?
Tim Burton, yeah.
Tim Burton, Corpse Bride. Oh yeah, Tim Burton, right? That one was actually Tim Burton.
That one was actually Tim Burton.
Okay.
So yes,
Okay.
That, to his credit, that one was him. Yes.
I just find it hilarious. I wonder how this guy feels. At least it's only that movie that typically is like, oh yeah, that's the Tim Burton one. I don't see people ever watching James and the Giant Peach and saying, is that a Tim Burton film?
Well, I feel, you know, and this kind of is a great starter for, you know, our discussion of Wendell and Wild. It is that effect, though. Tim Burton's name is attached to Nightmare Before Christmas. He was the producer and he was the writer. But Henry Selick's name, you know, he's the director. He's the guy leading the charge in the, hey, we got to sculpt 200 plus jackheads with all these different emotions. This is how we're going to get the shot. This is how the set's going to look for this piece, you know? Even so, yes, he directed that. James, as you said, Coraline, those are his big ones. Even if you don't know that Tim Burton didn't direct any of those movies, his name is always going to be attached to any kind of project, yeah, like you said, remotely resembling that of Nightmare Before Christmas. So the problem is Henry Selick's name is not known, period. It's not a household name.
Mainstream audiences don't, yeah.
Right. It's not a mainstream name. And you got to give credit where credit is due. This guy has been doing this forever. And as you said, stop motion animation is a fucking nightmare. I can imagine.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That was good. Good.
That was pretty good. And given the day that we're recording this, the 31st,
it's
October.
Halloween.
Ooh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Didn't even think about that.
We're spot on.
Oh, we're on it. We're on it. But yeah, it's just Henry Selick. He's killing it. Are you so I love Nightmare. Definitely big on Nightmare. Definitely love James and the Giant Peach. I could definitely say I'm not big on Coraline. So, you know, that being his last project, I wasn't necessarily like jumping for joy when I heard about this film, Wendell and Wild. Are you on that same page, or where's your mindset when you first heard about this project?
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I just hearing about the project and knowing the medium that it's in, which is stop motion, I'm like, I'm already excited for it to a certain degree. That being said, you know, with this guy's past works, I'll be honest, Nightmare Before Christmas, I probably saw a handful of times as a kid. I have not seen it as an adult from beginning to end. Same goes for James and the Giant Peach. James and the Giant Peach, I think I watched a lot more as a kid than Nightmare. But I'm telling you, the last time I saw it was like the movie was still on VHS. That was 100% the last time I saw James and the Giant Peach.
Sure.
And then Coraline, I've never seen Coraline from beginning to end. I would see bits and pieces every now and then throughout the years, but I never sat down beginning to end watch Coraline. What I do know about Coraline, though, a lot of people stan Coraline.
Oh, like, yeah.
For the community in stop motion and you know, for this director's work, people really hype up Coraline. For better or worse, I'm assuming it was his last work before this movie. Maybe that's the reason why it was the hyped up film compared to his other ones, which is James and Nightmare. But I cannot tell you how many times I've seen Coraline fan pages, Coraline stands. Like it's really crazy. But yeah. Coraline, have not seen it from beginning to end. So for this one, I was excited from the medium also because of, you know, Jordan Peele's name attached to the project. Yes. So we know Jordan Peele. You know, he's attached to a lot of these. I feel like he has a unique way of like telling horror in his own films. You know, we have Get Out, Us, Nope. So because I was going to be now translated into this stop motion horror movie penned by the guy that gave us Nightmare and all these other stop motion films, just that combination alone, that combo, I'm like, wow, that could be very, very interesting. I mean, I want to see what happens with that.
And let me tell you something I find the most interesting about this all is that this movie has been in production since I think about 2015. That's 2 years before Get Out. Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key are brought on to this project to, I think at first just to be voice talents because coming off the hype of Key and Peele.
Oh,
so they're
okay.
Yeah, they want to just bring these guys on as the leads, Wendell and Wild, which I think they do a pretty good Jordan Peele duo shtick.
As much as you could want, right?
Yeah, right. Not crazy over the top, but personality. There's personality. And then I guess amid the production, Jordan Peele steps in as co-screenwriter, and because this is all from Henry Selick. I guess Henry Selick's got a bunch of ideas he's just never published, and so this idea is, you know, his, and Jordan Peele comes on and helps write the whole screenplay. So I think it's crazy is that it's a credit to Jordan Peele's talent and ability, but this was technically before Jordan Peele blows up in the genre of horror. So just kind of cool.
It is. And I think, I mean, we haven't even talked about the film itself yet. I find that hilarious.
We have not.
But I think it's important to lay out that groundwork for how long this film has been in production technically, because I think maybe that's part of the reason why I have some major problems with the movie itself. We'll get into it, but I feel like when you're in development for that long, you maybe you had an original vision from the beginning. I mean, 2015, when was that? Like 7 years ago at this point.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like things change. Development hell is a real thing if things linger on for too long. I don't know, but yeah, when I did some research onto the film, like how long it was in production for, I did see the 2015 day, and I was like, oh my God, that probably explains the few issues I have with the movie. quite a bit.
I'm curious about your issues. I am not without issue. There are some I have, but I'm curious about yours. I think, yes, development hell is the thing. I don't know if this was in development hell. I just know these things do take a long time to produce, and
no, they do.
Yeah. And there was the pandemic at one point too.
Stalled it.
Right. So it's like we don't really know what's going on too behind the scenes and how much that affects the overall outcome. But one thing I will say too about as far as when they bring on Jordan Peele, basically Jordan Peele's name is now synonymous with Tim Burton, to the point where it's like
it holds weight.
You hear Jordan Peele, Henry Selick, people are gonna call this Jordan Peele's film, probably.
They probably are.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Wow, but this man can't catch a break. Damn it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's like, we're out here, Henry Selick doing his thing. We're doing our part. We're doing our part. But I find it interesting because now what you've got is, and I think this is, and we'll talk about the film, is that you bring on Jordan Peele, you're gonna expect diversity. You're gonna expect, as you said, he's got a unique sense of horror. But we're gonna talk about this diversity bit. I think this film, you don't get this film if Tim Burton's involved. You don't get
like with the diversity. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Is it that thing about Tim Burton?
Yes.
What? Go ahead. What is it?
He's oh God. I guess they asked him, what's with the lack of diversity in your movies? And he was just like, I don't want to do anything to be politically correct. Like he brings up, there was an episode of the Brady Bunch where they adopted an Asian kid, and it's like, well, they're just doing that to meet a quota. He's like, but he's basically saying, I don't go watch black movies and complain about why there's not enough white people in them. And I'm like, hearing that, he got a lot of shit for that. People did not let him with that.
Was that from when what interview was that for, or was that tied to any movie that he did?
I think at the time,
was it the Alice movie?
Not the Alice. I believe it was Miss Peregrine's School.
I've never heard of that one.
It's 2016. I don't think many people saw it. Samuel L. Jackson is the villain in that film.
Oh, wow. Okay. The one diversity check you get, make him the central evil in the movie.
I haven't seen it, so I don't even know if it's good or not, but it's like, okay, we finally got some color in here, like in a lead role, but he's the villain and whatnot. But it just, it was problematic for him to say that. And it does really reflect in a lot of his films. It's just not that these are white stories. God, Edward Scissorhands could have been Filipino. Like
Oh,
he's just,
yeah.
you know
might have.
what I'm saying? It like
Yeah. Yeah.
these are not racially exclusive. But with that said, what we are given here, and we'll get into it more, I don't think you get that with Tim Burton. So when I heard Jordan Peele's name, I was excited to, just see it based on what are they going to do with this, or kind of here's a film that celebrates, multi races, multiple races,
Right.
and whatnot, with minorities in the lead. So I really like that.
I definitely like it too. I mean, I like her design alone. Oh my God. Cat. I think that was probably the first appeal that I liked about the film, because
appeal.
Oh wow. Peele, yes, appeal. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I liked just the combo of the names and the poster of like cat. I liked all the designs in this movie. Again, that coming from the mind of Henry Selick, you get these type of designs, these unique and zany creatures and devils and like Halloween type of caricatures, and it looks really good. It got to a point where, when we meet Wendell and Wild, I didn't know who. First off, I didn't even know Jordan Peele and Michael Keaton were playing characters in the movie.
Keegan Michael Key.
Oh my goodness. Keegan Michael Key.
I didn't know they were playing roles either.
I
had
didn't
no
know
idea.
that. But before they even opened their mouths, when we saw Wendell and Wild, like specifically, which one's Jordan Peele's character?
Wendell.
Wendell.
I don't know which one's which.
Maybe it's Wild.
The one to your right.
Yes.
Looks
this
just
one.
like Jordan Peele.
It was a spitting. I'm like, oh wow. Before he opens his mouth, I already know this is Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's gonna be voicing this character, and the skinny, taller looking character is definitely Keegan Michael.
It does look like him too. He's bald.
Right.
They did their work. They did their homework. They look good.
They look good. But yeah, just the designs, the caricatures of like all these people, it looks really, really good. It looks good. But yeah, what were you attached to the plot of the story? Like what did you think overall?
Okay, overall, okay. All right, I always appreciate, films like Coraline, Nightmare, Corpse Bride. They kind of make horror fun for kids, or just they do horror not in such an overly dark tone to where a kid can watch it.
It's approachable. Yeah,
right, it's approachable. So I always like that about them. I've only watched Coraline maybe once in my life, and I was like, I don't need this again. I was very
wow.
I was very creeped out. By
out.
The buttons, the button eyes.
Oh, the button eyes.
The other mother, and so with that said, I love stop motion, but I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this genre of horror, which is I appreciate it. So with that said, with this film, it still falls, I guess, short for me as far as did I enjoy it? Yes. And there are things that I enjoyed. I am okay having only watched this once.
You don't need to watch it again. You're like, okay,
I don't need to watch it again. If someone wants to watch it, I will watch it with them, but I won't be like, hey, let's go watch.
Right.
Which is fine, because again, like the things we're going to talk about, I think are great aspects of the film. I just like, this is just, it's not my favorite genre, but so yeah, overall, I'm like, I enjoyed it, but I'm not like jumping for joy about it. I guess the same thing with Nightmare. I like the music of Nightmare, then I actually like the whole movie.
There are, yeah, I think with a film like this, you do something there are things that they do really, really well, and that's probably the one aspect I'm gonna praise to the moon and back, which like for me, it's the aesthetic. I love the designs.
I love the
this
aesthetic.
movie.
Yes.
I love I like the characters, I like the monsters and the creatures, and but where it loses me is the plot. The plot. Okay. Let's get into that plot. Like what?
I agree. It's a little all over the place. I mean, it starts on that dark note. Kat inadvertently causes the car to crash. Her parents die. So there goes the central kind of, let's move the main character from this nice little girl to now she's a hardened badass, and
Right.
in and out of juvie, punk rocker, which is, you know, a portrayal you don't see for like black leads most. So I like that aspect too. They're showing there's many shades of blackness.
Right.
So I really like that. The town she grew up in is now being like overthrown by these rich 1%. Claxcorp and the Claxon family. And they're trying to build a prison and run everybody out of town.
A private prison.
And funnel the children of the school into the prison. All for profit.
Break the cycle. Break the cycle program.
Right. And so I guess that's the basic human plot. Enter Wendell and Wild. They are subject to, they're demons. They're demon brothers.
Right.
They are tasked to regrow their father's hair, Lord Buffalo Beelzebub.
Yes.
Voiced by Ving Rhames. And they have
who else does he voice?
That's Cobra Bubbles. Cobra Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, okay. Got it. I was like, I know this voice. I know
Marcellus Wallace from Pulp Fiction.
Marcellus. Oh, okay. The guy. Yeah, that guy.
Luther from the Mission Impossible franchise.
Oh,
same old Ethan.
That's right.
That's him. And what they wanna build a park, an amusement park.
Yeah.
And the only way they can build it is
if they go to the land of the living.
But to do that, they need a Hell Maiden.
A Hell Maiden. Right.
So now we get the crossing over of, you know, the human and the supernatural. Kat is a Hell Maiden. I don't think they ever explain why she's a Hell Maiden, but what a Hell Maiden is. Do you know what a Hell Maiden is?
No, this is one of my problems with the film. Not specifically with Hell Maiden, but like there's just so much thrown at you in this film that they don't explain or get into. Like, Kat's a Hell Maiden. What the hell is that? What does that mean? How do you become a Hell Maiden? Why was the nun also a Hell Maiden before that? Why can she turn into smoke and disappear?
That was really cool. Never explained.
It was cool. I liked it, and I was waiting for that moment in the movie to explain. Like, so what is she? Like, what is this BS that she does? Never explained. It looked like what the janitor. The janitor was kind of like a play off of oh my god.
Oh, like Van Helsing type.
Van Helsing. I was also gonna say, I forget this guy's name from Evil Dead. Bruce Campbell's character.
Oh, Ash.
Yes. It looked like a mix of those people together because he sounded like he was like a demon hunter.
Right.
But you never see any of that. Like you maybe in like towards the end of the movie you see a little bit of it. You're right. They throw a lot at you. I feel what you have here is some great lore potential, and what they did not do is thoroughly explain that lore
within the hour and 46 minutes of this film. So you're either picking up the pieces yourself, connecting the dots yourself, or just really just trying to be like, okay, so this is a thing moving forward. So
you
yeah,
have to accept it. You have to, don't question it. We're on to the next segment. We're on to the next. I like how they transition to black to like transition scenes. Like it's like a Windows Movie Maker project. Like,
oh, did they do that a bunch?
They did it a lot. It would be where like, so like, how George Lucas has that very cheesy the swipe that's like a Windows Movie Maker effect.
Yes,
it's very cheap, but it's considered a classic with those type of movies.
Sure.
With this, they did a lot of here's a scene, and as the scene winds down, we're gonna fade to black, and then fade into the next scene, the next major scene that's going on. I mention it because I noticed it. I noticed they did it like at least 3 or 4 times. Mostly towards the end of the movie, they did it. Not so much in the beginning. In the beginning, they actually did it very creatively. The way they transition scenes. So like, if they're like talking in the classroom and they look up at the sky and it's the end of the scene, they'll show the moon, and then the moon will do something like crazy and like switch over to the next scene.
And so I feel that's really part of the aesthetic too. They were really leaning in those moments.
Right. I liked it when they did it like that. So when they stopped doing that in the latter half of the film, that's what made me notice it even more. Now I'm noticing, so you guys were being really creative with these transition scenes, but now you're just fading to black at the end of these scenes. A minor thing. It's not something to like, gripe on the movie in its entirety, but something that I noticed. Little things start to add up, and I'm like, man, I want to love this film even more, but you're busting me, Smalls. You're busting me.
I didn't notice. I mean, if any things that stuck out to me are like the thing as far as so on the plot thread, just these things started converging, or we were waiting for all these things to really converge on each other, because there was like all these characters had their own subplot going on, so the Wendell Wild need to be summoned to the earth by Kat. She does so. They make a deal: bring back my parents from the dead and I will bring you to this earth. They go back on her. They team up with the principal, or was it the Claxons first?
No, they resurrected. They resurrected the principal first, who was voiced by
James Hong.
James Hong. Always loved James Hong. He's fantastic in everything that he does. So right, they resurrect him first, because that was one of the caveats when Wendell and Wild came to the land of the living. They did not know if the cream, which is what's bringing these people back to life, was going to work. Right. So they're like, okay, so we don't know where our Hell Maiden is. Let's test this cream out on like a fresh grave. Oh, look, there's a fresh grave right here, because the Claxons clacked his character earlier in the movie. So
I want to come back to that. We're going to come back to that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep going.
No, but that's basically it. They resurrect him with the cream, and they're like, okay, so this works. We have like it works. We can now exchange that deal with our Hell Maiden wherever she is.
Right, and so then they get entangled with the Claxons, and the Claxons are trying to get the vote for the prison, so they start resurrecting the old council of delegates that could vote against. And then you have Kat, who wants her parents back. They get resurrected. We're laying out pretty much all the plot beats, but overall, they all converge, and everybody just teams up against the Claxons. Everybody, Wendell and Wild, stop their misguided ways, and even their father comes and joins the fray. I feel there was just a lot of moving pieces. When I feel maybe it was too many moving pieces. I
think it was too many. I feel like you trim a lot of the fat out of these characters or these creatures, or just these themes that are showcased. Like I feel like the movie needed to be maybe an hour longer, 30 minutes to an hour longer.
Longer? It was already an hour and 46 minutes.
I know, and it blows my mind that you had an hour and 40 minutes introducing all these different things in the film, but you still didn't have enough time to like expand or touch on these things. And I get it, maybe that wasn't the point. Maybe it's just to show kind of like what you said earlier, like how expansive the world is in this mythos. Like you have all these moving pieces, but it just leaves like an empty feeling because I feel like all of them don't mesh together well. Like kind of like this is a weird example, but like you know how like with Game of Thrones, you have all these different characters going off on their little quests, or there's season 8. They why are we mentioning season 8? Damn.
No, because that's what it is. It's all these characters had ample time to formulate their own stories. And we made sense of them, and then they forced them all together at the end. Right.
I feel like that's what's happening in this movie.
Except we don't have that much time with all these characters.
Minus that time. Minus the time that I feel like we needed, because I feel like there was potential for characters for me to grow attached to. Like, I feel like I kind of wanted to know more about the nun, who is, I did not, you see, this is a problem. This nun is voiced by Angela Bassett.
It's Angela Bassett. Yes, it is.
And my major problem with that is I know that queen's voice when I hear it. I know it, like I'm telling you, I know it as soon as I hear it. We did not spend enough time with the nun for me to realize that was Angela Bassett.
Nun Helly, right? Sister
Helly, right. I had no idea that was Angela Bassett until I looked it up. I'm like, wow, that was Angela. I didn't know. There was not enough time, and that is strike number one against this film. This film loses 2 points because I couldn't tell Angela Bassett obviously was in the movie.
I think there's a lot of very interesting things. So their relationship, they're both Hell Maidens. Kat, our main character, who's obviously going through stuff, having lost her parents, trying to revive them. Apparently, Sister Helly went through something similar as a Hell Maiden, but we don't really learn anything about it. And then they do that bonding moment, and it didn't necessarily resonate because it's like we didn't really get to see them struggle. It was kind of everybody's running around, yelling at each other, like, don't do this, don't do that. It's like they had a lot of great ideas. Just, I'm the more we talk about it, I feel this thing really could have worked as a series.
And this is where I bring up what I said earlier. This film was in production since 2015. I feel like there was some stuff that got lost in the sauce
rushed.
That got rushed. It's like, hey, this film has been going on for 7+ years production. Like, I get it. It's stop motion. It takes time, but it was 2015 when this happened. Do you remember where you were in 2015?
I mean, I can guess a couple places, but it's a long time.
It's a long time, and I feel like the film overall suffers because of that. It's usually when it comes to projects like that, whether it be games or movies or shows, when they're stuck in production like that for that long, it's usually not a good sign. Not saying that it doesn't always lead to something great. Sometimes things just take that long and you get something really good at the end of it. But majority of the time, that's not the case. And you get something like this, Wendell Wild, where we enjoy certain aspects of the film, but other elements, I'm like, this was rushed. Why was this character like this? What am I supposed to think of? Like, I don't know, Raul.
Okay, Raul's an interesting character. What do you know about Raul?
Raul, I wait, like what do you mean? Like, where does
as his character goes?
I think it's pretty decent. Well, I mean, because what? Like Raul is trans.
Raul's a trans character. You
Right.
don't get this film with Tim Burton. I'm saying you don't get
Tim
this
Burton
film.
would never.
I mean, God, I feel that is true when I'm saying, but then again, there are some Tim Burton movies I haven't seen, but I just feel you don't get this movie with Tim Burton. Raul's a trans character. I feel that's huge.
It is very huge.
Because one, it's doesn't even go said in the film.
It's very heavily, like, I feel like they make it as clear as they can without just outright saying, "Oh, Raul is trans."
They never outright said it. I think, yeah, they do leave like breadcrumbs. But I looked up a little interview with Henry Selick. They were just like, we want to put a boy in this all girls school setting, which is Russ Bank Catholic. And they're like, well, how do we do that without making it sound stupid? Oh, I'll just make them a trans character. And honestly, I'm like, perfect.
Easy.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Problem solved.
Right. It's like not that hard. Like, don't come up with some convolute. Oh, the boys' schools were destroyed. No, just you can have some trans characters.
The Claxons destroyed all the all boys schools outside of town. So this is the closest school. Oh my! I bet you an early draft of this script had that. I guarantee.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And then I think somewhere down the line they were just like, let's not that they're being woke, but they're like, can we just be decent people? And
can we make this easier on us?
Right. And outside of Raul being a trans character, I feel as I was saying, the cast is very diversified. They had a whole falafel guy.
Falafel?
The food truck she went to.
The food truck.
Oh my God! Like the only person that knew her when she was a kid.
Oh, he was there for like 5 minutes, no? Or
I mean, he was there in the council scene, Mr. Fozzie.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying you don't see that a lot. And when you talk about like Nightmare and Coraline, and all those other stop motion films, I feel they've been growing in inclusion. Mr. the crazy gym guy who captures demons. I guess he's a paraplegic.
Right.
The preppy trio, including the Claxton's daughter.
Right.
She's mixed. One of them is
Indian.
I believe Indian, yeah, and the other is Asian.
Right. Also, I don't know what her role or her position is, but the person that drove Kat to the school in the beginning of the movie, Native American.
Yeah, right.
I think they got a little bit of everyone except for a single white person.
No, the only white person is the Claxton mom.
Oh wow, the most evil person.
The most evil person, right? Who tries to choke out her British black husband at the end of the film.
Who is very? Do you feel like he impersonated someone?
No, he's British.
But he looked a lot like.
The wig. Is it
the wig, the suit, the stout nature?
Yeah.
You feel like it was a caricature?
Commentary. There could be some commentary on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can make that. I think you can make that parallel.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching it, because I'm like, is he supposed to be a play off someone? And then I'm like, oh.
Now that you mention it, I think I can see it. So I actually know I do see it.
The toupee. Oh
yes,
no, it is. No, it is. No,
yeah,
I was like on the fence about it, like, maybe it is or not. But then at the end of the movie, when you realize the toupee falls off.
Yes, it falls off. Right.
That 100% is our boy. Our boy.
not my boy.
My boy. 2024. Here we come.
Not my boy. But you see, majority of these characters I did enjoy. I enjoyed Raul. I enjoyed the Shaban, the Claxton daughter, and her kind of coming to realize her parents are just sucky.
Right.
And Kat too. I do like Kat. I felt it wasn't overtly hardened. character.
You never felt like she was a little too mean at some points? Like,
I mean,
can you lighten up Kat a little bit?
Yes, at times where she's like, I don't have friends, and here's Raul clearly being a friend.
Raul's like standing right next to her when she says those lines. I have no friends. I'm like,
I mean,
bitch.
At the end of the day, she was just in denial. But see, I find these characters were enjoyable. James Hong's guy is funny too. It's just like there's so much other things going on that you don't really get that time with them. But I feel the characters were a stronger element to the film. Right now, I think it's the characters, probably the middle. The plot is at the low. And then, as you stated earlier, the aesthetic. What did you think about the animation sequences, like the little dream sequences? Like when they showed Kat's past?
Oh, those were really good. I
those were incredible.
Yeah, they were really, really good because they would kind of show off like some 2D animation, but like it was still stop motion in a way, right?
Yes.
Like
it was like a perfect blend. Yeah, perfect blend.
And like the aesthetic of this movie, I can really get behind. Like, let me get this out of the way. If I'm judging this film just based off of aesthetic, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, of course,
easily.
of course.
Like
music helps too. I think the punk rock soundtrack does really good for this film.
I feel like nothing was out of place with the music. There wasn't a single song where I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be dated in 3 years. Like in what did they play? Power from Kanye?
Or you know what I thought they might have played? You might love this.
What?
I thought Bad Reputation might come on. I don't give a damn about my bad reputation, and it would have fit. It would have fit.
It would have been cringe, but it would have fit. Like, I can already see at least 2 scenes where it would have fit perfectly. I still would have winced. I'm glad they didn't do it, but I could see where some less artistic people behind the scenes would have been like, yeah, you know, it'd be a great idea. Let's put Bad Reputation on this part right here.
Right. I think they knew what they wanted. They said, there is a genre of music that is often unexplored. Let's give credit to where credit's due. Let's not do the easy Shrek soundtrack cop out.
Right. Oh my God. Shrek is a masterpiece, and
that is a masterful soundtrack. I agree.
So what was it about the Klaxons killing James Hong that you wanted to bring up from earlier?
Wasn't it? It was super violent. They whack him on the head.
They whack his head off. Is that what happened?
No. They clocked him on the head and he drowned. He got knocked down. That's why his face is blue for the rest of the time.
Right.
He's revived. Right. And I was like, that's really violent. And it really caught me off guard. The beginning of the film with the crashing and the car going underwater, and they drowned too. That I just realized their faces were blue too.
Oh wow, they were. Yeah, the parents when they came back.
Yeah.
And you know, that's an element I want to get into too. I feel like, because I noticed it a lot more when the parents came back. And I get it, you don't want to waste time on things that ultimately don't matter, I guess. But I feel like the way the people that were alive reacted to the literal dead coming from the ground, like coming to life.
Oh, so they're back.
They're back. Okay. Like, oh my God. I think probably the most egregious moment is when Raul's mother is having that town council meeting to vote on the prison. What the hell is this? They're about to vote against the Klaxons, and then the board members that have been dead for years come back and they're like, oh my God, they're allowed to vote? Yes, they are. It's 5-4. The Klaxons win. I'm like, what the hell? You guys are gonna accept this? What the hell?
When you put it like that, it's actually kind of funny. I thought it's ridiculous.
It's absurd. And
it's absurd.
I think that's what you have to accept, because the rest of the film treats it that way too. Like, people just like come back from the dead and it's like, oh my God,
I love
Anyways.
the principal's line. My exaggerations of my death or tales of my death were greatly exaggerated. He says it like twice.
Yes, yeah. That one was okay, yeah. That
Like they had a whole funeral. They buried him.
They buried him, they mourned him. I mean, the students mourned him. I'm like, oh wow, this must be very traumatic. And then they're like jumping for joy when they hear him on the intercom.
Oh, mind you, his head is always like sunken in because that's how hard they hit him. They broke his neck, I guess.
Yeah, that blows my mind because you see the shadow, like when Mrs. Claxon clacks his character in the head, you see his shadow like go like you see the shadow of his head match his body where it's going down.
Yeah.
Right. So I rewound that scene like twice and I'm like, did they just decapitate him? Like, because his head is like not where his shoulders are on his shadow.
I feel that might be worse than decapitated because they just destroyed how many discs in the vertebrae to get the head down to shoulder height.
She got a swing. She got a swing. My God.
The scene where Sister Helly falls and clocks her head on the ground. And I was like, damn, that's like blood. I'm like, they took it there. But
they
it was
took
like,
it there. Right.
I mean, I was like, it wasn't like so overtly egregious. It was just so noticeable against the rest of the film. These overtly violent scenes. And then, as you said, most of the characters just kind of moving on. She cracked her skull, put a Band-Aid on.
Yeah, don't worry about it. She'll come back later. Never.
They're back from the dead. No biggie.
Oh look, my parents! Hooray!
Right, even kind of, and I don't think this film has necessarily a tone issue. Part of me felt the big reveal as far as the parents being brought back to life did not resonate with me emotionally.
Yeah, I was expecting it to.
Right.
Because there was build up to it. Like
there was.
I thought maybe the film, and maybe this would have, maybe it would have been a better film. I thought maybe they were gonna go the route where they resurrect the parents, but Kat doesn't get to see them until like maybe the end of the film because of circumstances. Like as soon as they get close, the parents get abducted or Kat gets transported to some weird limbo world or whatever. Like, but they never physically meet despite them trying to do that until the end, which when you get to the end, it's like you realize, oh, this cream is not permanent. They're only back for a limited amount of time. Now I only have this amount of time to spend with you guys. I feel like the emotion would have hit a lot more. Like what you said, I wasn't resonating with Kat meeting up with her parents, and I felt like I was supposed to because I was supposed to feel bad that she was mourning the loss of her parents because a lot of it she feels like is because it's her fault. Had she not screamed in that moment, they never would have been distracted to like veer off the bridge in the beginning and then ultimately drown.
Right. So it just felt like their reunion happened at the wrong point in the film to where it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't mesh well with whatever the hell else is going on in the film. So it's like they had a really nice dartboard of a layout as far as, like we said, the aesthetics were great, the animation is phenomenal, the characters, most of the characters are really fun and enjoyable, but then you just have some issues here with the plot, some unexplained parts of the lore, and overall some of these emotional scenes are not really hidden as hard as they could. Where does that leave us with the rest of the film?
Well, you get your Avengers Assemble at
you
the
do
end.
You really do. Again, everybody realizes the Claxons are in the wrong.
Bum 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 bum.
Legit. No, you're literally. Did she stop a bulldozer at one point?
I don't know if she stopped it. There were some people that like straight up manhandled with their bare fists, like just hold. I think who was the Van Helsing character?
Oh, Manberg.
There was one part where the bulldozer just rammed into him and he was holding it with his bare, like I thought maybe his wheelchair was gonna like transform into something like super cool, like some like giant thing to like hold back so that he has grip on the bulldozer, but no, he was just holding it. I don't think he was holding it back, but he was trying to hold it back with his bare fist. And I'm like,
it looked like it was working at some point.
You had the parents throwing snowballs at the bulldozer. I'm
right.
like,
I was like, y'all gotta.
Is this Snow Day, that Nickelodeon garbage movie? What
They
is
did
this?
more. They did more work in Snow Day than these parents did with their snowballs. So,
I was like, oh my god, just what is going on? And you have this again, just weird stuff. Cat can see the future.
Okay, actually,
What?
I was just reminded of that. That was brought up in the very beginning. You know, when she saved Shaban. And then it's never brought up again until she gets the closure on her hand. But then it was a great idea, and I thought that was gonna be Kat's thing moving forward, and then it's just kind of dropped and literally not brought up again.
It's literally forgot about just to bring it up towards the end of the movie so that we can have our Avengers Assemble moment, because it's because of Kat's vision that kind of unites everyone to be like, well, we can change the future. Destiny is not written in stone. We must change it. Tatakai.
Tatakai. I guess.
It's like, I hate when they do stuff like that in movies. Just this contrived, like, I feel like she doesn't need that. She doesn't need anything about that because they don't do anything with it. You're right. She does save Saban in the beginning of the movie when that brick was going to fall on her. I thought there was going to be maybe even some tension with like how that scene played out, you know, because at first Kat thinks, oh, Raul did that on purpose. He just legit tried to kill me with that. But it's literally resolved in like a couple seconds. After
and then
the
also
event.
as same thing with the awakening of the dead, she can see the future, and they're like, yay, we gotta have her in her inner circle.
That's so Raven having an ass.
I get it, right. So yeah, I don't. A lot of it's like a lot of ideas that they just forgot were on the dartboard, and then it's never really fully fleshed out. And I think that's the movie's biggest detriment. Yeah, it's just they have a lot of really cool ideas. Just we're not given enough time with them. Honestly, this might be wild to say.
Oh.
I don't even think this film should be called Wendell and Wild.
Oh my God. Yes. I was so I was so confused why the film was called that. Because it implies as if they're the main characters.
Right.
And I would say they are part of the main cast, I guess. Like they're the catalyst that starts everything. Right? Like they kind of are the reason why things are even happening. But like I feel like they're not enough in the film. Like I feel like Kat and Wendell and Wild don't even have that much interaction.
They really don't have that much. And they're like, she's like, and again, thematically speaking, I thought there was a lot going on that we were going to see fleshed out when she kept saying, they're my demons, you know, and it's like in a metaphorical sense.
Yeah.
Kat is not dealing with her own personal demons. And then she has the physical manifestations of her demons. And yet, as you said, they barely have any scenes or like significant scenes with each other where
right. They have interactions where it's like, oh yeah, we're going to bring your parents back to life, but, and then like, that's it. Like that.
Yeah, no, that's it. Right.
There's nothing significant that they have. And it makes me wonder, like, why was this called Wendell and Wild? The name is cool. Like,
it's great name.
it makes me think about it, but like because those are characters in the movie that have no significance, I'm left wondering like why was it called this? Oh my god, like I'm trying to think of like an example.
Oh, a movie that's name does not match anything going on.
Yeah, like
Ooh,
I know afterwards I'm gonna think of like 20.
My mind was ready to say Zathura, but that's not right.
Ew, Zathura.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of. I'm trying to think of really mediocre
Jumanji.
movies. I'm trying to think of some really mediocre movies. Nothing's coming to mind right now.
There are movies that have done this before.
Yeah, no doubt. There are. I just can't think of any right now.
It's just super weird. I don't know why they called it Wendell and Wild. It's a cool name. I like it, but when you're trying to make it tie back into, okay, it's a cool name, why did you call it that? That's where it starts to fall apart. Well, not where it starts. It falls apart before that. This is one of the pieces as to why, I'm pulling apart the Jenga blocks, and it's leaning back and forth. It's about to fall, but there's that center. There's that center that's not giving away, and that's the film's aesthetic. It's holding strong. It's the fattest Jenga block holding this tower together. So that's what's going on with me for the rest of the film, and kind of even when she says goodbye to her parents at the end, I wasn't feeling it. Like,
yeah, it didn't feel that much, right?
Right? No, it didn't. It was like, oh, Kat, we have to go. We're proud of you. Stay true to yourself. Goodbye. And that's...
also, I mean, you can infer, or it is implied that Wendell and Wild's theme park, we're going to be able to, I don't know, visit.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be able to see your parents again.
Right. And I guess it's because it's like kind of like a gateway between the land of the living and dead. So I'm guessing that, because I do know what you're talking about. There were implications at the end, like, oh, well, it's not 100% goodbye. We just got to make our theme park, and
right. It's not over. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, even the resolution with Wendell and Wild and their father, like Basil
Buffalo, whatever. Yeah.
I'll call him Buffalo. That, I don't know, like that was just kind of weird.
Interesting. There was kind of an overarching, a lot of parental there was a lot theme going on. You had him, Wendell and Wild, you had Kat and her parents, Shaban and the Claxtons. There was, and even Raul and his mom, she mentions, I'll do anything for my son. A lot of that going on. I think that worked, right. But it was also just something I feel was not as fleshed out.
Right.
Would you say, I mean, I guess this is the last thing, and it could be really quick. Is there a commentary on the prison system and school system in this film?
I think there is.
They wanted to funnel the juvenile delinquents into a poorly funded school, and that way they end up in prison.
I could have sworn that was a plot to another movie. Or a show. I don't know if I'm thinking. No, it definitely is not Orange is the New Black. But I feel like I've heard this plot thread before. I might have to dig a little bit to find it. But I know there's a commentary on, like, just private prisons in general. I don't know about this grand thing that the Claxons had, where they had this cycle where you send them to the school so that they could break the cycle, but you really don't want them to break the cycle, so that they come back into the prison. Maybe there is something on that there's a discussion for. I know private prisons in general are frowned upon a lot.
Of course.
For the reasons that are raised in this film as well, but you kind of lose that when you get into the complexity of what they were trying to do.
Well, I just feel that's something really prevalent that I walked away with versus everything else going on in this film. I was like, They were trying to say something about prisons and schooling.
They were. I feel like they were. There was some. I mean, they were the main antagonistic force.
Forget the Hell Maidens. What were they saying about prisons?
We've got to have money.
I just wanted to throw that out. I wonder if people are gonna like, are they gonna resonate? Not resonate, but like, is that the takeaway? Not everything that we have said, but like, is that gonna be their takeaway? It's this giant conversation on schooling and prisons.
We'll see. It's oh goodness. We're left with a film that is for the most part all over the place. From its story, some of its themes, the character arcs that you want to see resolution for because you enjoy. I mean, we even said it in here, like we enjoy just the simple inclusion of some of these characters. Like I like Raul's character a lot. I want to like him more, but the film doesn't give me enough time to actually like that character. Same goes with a bunch of people again, and they did Angela Bassett too dirty. I'm sorry. Like you don't do that to our queen.
Yeah.
But I guess overall, like if I was gonna rate the film, like between like 1 being the worst, or I guess 0 is the worst, and then 10 being the best, a really strong 7. That's okay. Kind of where I'm at, and I think that's fair. I think what holds it up, again, we've been parroting this the entire time, is the aesthetic. This medium is so hard to mess up because you don't finish a project like this unless you care about what you're making. So again, the designs, the nightmare hell themes that they have going on, even the back and forth between Wendell and Wild, it's your typical Keaton and Michael
Peele shit.
Yeah, it is. It's your typical one, but it's funny. Like I liked it when they were kind of going back and forth and they had their shtick going on. So all that was funny. But I feel like this is the main problem with the film. I want to like it more, and I can't because the story's all over the place, the characters, etc., etc. So I think a 7 is like the max I would ever give it. 7's the max I would. And then now it makes me want to go and watch Coraline, because now I'm like, well, people were standing this movie before.
To this day.
Is it? Well, actually, I want to know, if I'm going to think it's better than this movie or not. You've seen it. How would you, I guess overall, how would you rank this movie by itself? And how do you think it compares with the previous films, the Coraline and...
I mean, I can't speak on Coraline. I haven't seen that movie in years, so I really can't speak on it. I will. I'm with you. This film, I'm gonna give it a B-, and it's only a B- because there's like the things I enjoyed are enough for me to give it this, and it's also, I feel, just a really good step forward in overall. And again, you don't have this film if Tim Burton's involved. So I'm gonna keep saying that. But don't get me wrong, it's like a 79.91.
It's right there. So wait, that's a C+. That ain't no B-.
In middle school, it gets boosted to a B.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna give it that. I mean, Nightmare is a musical, so it has that going for it. So that's another layer that separates it from the rest. Coraline is a straight, Coraline's also by Neil Gaiman, who's also just an incredible author. Henry Selick just brought it to life, but that's a very straightforward plot. Two worlds, evil mother, get that bitch.
But you see, I feel like that simplicity.
It was simplicity.
Maybe that's what made people gravitate towards Coraline a lot more. You see, now I'm interested in seeing Coraline. Like I actually want to sit down and watch it from beginning to end.
Maybe we could come back and do a little retro piece on Coraline.
I feel like it would be welcome.
Actually, yeah, it probably will be welcome. Yeah, I actually, now I kind of want to go watch it. But yeah, I mean, if I'm talking works of Henry Selick, I mean, I haven't seen James and the Giant Peach in forever, too. So.
VHS. That was the last time I saw it.
I saw it at daycare years ago. It was probably VHS as well. I don't want to rank maybe we can go back and rank all Henry Selick's projects.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, there's only
four of them.
Well, yeah, we could do that.
You could.
So I don't know where it ranks amongst them, because there are things I dislike about all of them, or just don't gravitate with me.
You know what we could do? One of those like rankings of like all those stop motion films that like kind of blend to get like Corpse Bride.
Yeah, Corpse Bride. Leica is that company that did Coraline.
Yes.
Kubo.
Yes.
Missing Link. And there's
they did Missing Link too. The one with Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, Zach Galifianakis. Yes, they did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I heard that one was.
I haven't seen either. I heard it was great. Yeah, I heard it was good.
Yeah. You could probably do like rather than limiting it to the director, maybe the studio. Like
Paranorman.
I've heard of Paranorman. Yeah.
Paranorman. That's a really good one too.
There you go. You could do. All right. There you go. We have an idea. That could be a ranking list of studio
stop
Leica.
Motion. Studio Leica. I mean, that doesn't include James and.
We'll throw it in there just because they're like cousins. They're like first cousins.
They are. I mean, I feel there's no Leica without Henry Selick. So
there isn't. Yeah.
Or like Leica doesn't blow up without Henry Selick.
Right. What Henry Selick walked so that Leica could run.
Exactly. No. Yeah. Literally.
There you go. So.
Oh yeah. We can table this at the Yonko table, and we can come back. Yeah. We could table this, but Wendell and Wild. Definitely. I want people to go watch it. I don't want people to not watch it.
Go watch it. I'm glad, regardless of my problems with the movie, I'm still glad it was made. I liked it. I'm glad that I watched Wendell and Wild.
Yeah, same.
I think if you're a fan of the genre in general, like, Nightmare Before Christmas or just the aesthetic of like stop motion animation, you're really gonna like this. Like some of these shots, I was really blown away with how they, like, there was one where they focused on, it was in the very beginning of the movie where one of the wheels like ran over like ice, and the ice was like on top of like water a little bit. And it was the wagon that was pulling Cat, not the wagon, but the van that Cat was in when she was being transferred over to the school. Mm-hmm. There was a scene where the camera focused on one of the car's wheels running over. Again, something very simple, just like on the road there was like some ice because it was snowing, and the way the wheel just ran over to that, and you could like it meshed and like melded into like water, like it. That was so appealing to see. I love that. That took weeks. That had to take them weeks to make.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing what they can accomplish in stop motion,
right?
Like without it not looking like stop motion.
Right.
So
right.
Credit where credit is due.
For sure. Go watch it.
Go watch it.
It fits the season too,
Yeah, sure does. Close out your season right before winter really kicks in. So
exactly.
But yeah, I think that's it from us here at the Yonko Table, talking about the latest from Henry Selick and Jordan Peele, Wendell and Wild. It's on Netflix right now, folks. Go spend your Halloween festivities, your final days watching this film, but be sure to tune in to the Yonko Table. We got new stuff coming at you every week, so be on the lookout. Thank you for following us on all social media accounts: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Hey, we got things popping on TikTok, YouTube. Want to see our lovely faces? Twitch. Dr. Jace is always streaming every other day, or give or take. So go check it out, folks. And of course, if you want to join the discussion, please click the link below and join the Discord. We be popping off in the Discord about just about everything you can think of. All right. But without further ado, that's it from us. I am your Yonko host, Grandmaster Hoop. Fellow Yonko, Dr. Jace Attorney. We're signing out. Take care.